if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. You know, for as long as I can remember, I had always been a person that was out of shape. You know, I was fat, shy and insecure, and I didn't like the way that I looked whatsoever. Whenever I would step outside, I always used to think that people were staring at me, you know, because I thought to myself that I was really ugly. And this used to mess with my mental health like nothing else. You know, I can remember like the first memories I have of indulging in video games and junk food. I think I was like maybe 7 or 8 years old. You know, I would stay up late the night before school, like every single time, because I just couldn't help myself to play video games, you know, like 10 hours straight after school. And I remember like pretty much every single day that I was in school, I was just completely sleep deprived. As of eating junk food, this just became a part of my routine, you know, over time. No joke when I say this. When I was in high school, I think I legit ate junk food and had some sugary drink or snack, like every single day, no problems. You know, whenever I was thirsty and I wanted a drink, I would never grab water and I would always grab a soda, because at the time I just couldn't stand the taste of water whatsoever. It quickly turned into this dark spiral that just kept going. You know, I started to look worse and worse. And as a way for me to cope with how I was feeling at the time, guess what I did? I indulged in the bad habits even more, you know, the video games and the junk food. I remember this one moment very specifically. You know, I had just woken up and it was time to go to school. And the night before, I had literally not stepped outside for like 1 single second, and this wasn't even an exaggeration. You know, I could just feel how dry my eyes were from all the screen time. I stepped out of bed, you know, to go to the bathroom, and on my way there, I walked past the mirror in my room and caught a glimpse of myself. And no joke, I had to take a few steps back and look at myself closer. What I saw in the mirror literally shocked me. I had these massive bags under my eyes and it looked like I was literally wearing makeup. You know, my face was so bloated from all the shit food that I'd been eating the day before. Like, no joke when I say this. My stomach was protruding so much that I could barely see my toes when I was looking down. I remember just looking at myself and just feeling this massive wave of shame go through all of my body. You know, I had this one sentence repeat in my brain over and over and over. And it was, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you doing this to yourself? When I looked myself in the mirror, I almost felt delusional. You know, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I knew that it was pretty bad at the time, right? But I had no idea that it was this bad. I knew deep down that something had to change. You know, I couldn't keep on living like this. I had proof right in front of me that I was ruining my own life. And, you know, at the time, I had a lot of thoughts of working out, right? But they always just remained a thought and nothing else. Quick side note, if you want to talk about fitness and, you know, have a conversation with me where I can maybe give you some personal advice, then feel free to add me on Discord. I'll put my username on the screen right here, but also in the description. Since I knew that I had to change, I started doing what most of us do, right? And that is to start watching content about the thing. In my case, it was fitness. You know, I started watching these videos over and over of all these different things. How to lose fat, how to gain muscle, how to do this exercise, like everything that you can think of. Now here's the thing, in my mind I thought that I was being productive, right? You know, I thought to myself, oh, if I just learn more about these things, then I will start to make faster results once I start going to the gym. Let me repeat what I just said. Once I actually start going to the gym. I had watched countless of videos for weeks at this point without even stepping a single foot inside the gym. You know, I was still this fat, shy and insecure guy, but the only thing that I had done is managed to trick my brain into thinking that I was actually making progress without even showing up to the gym. Now let me tell you the sad truth. I could watch these videos until the day I die and still look the same. You know, no amount of videos was ever gonna substitute for me just getting my fat ass in the gym and actually doing the work that's necessary. As you can see in the title of this video, I mentioned that you had to sacrifice someone in order to get the body that you want, right? The person that you have to sacrifice is yourself, and more specifically, the old version of you. You have to sacrifice the old version of yourself in order for the new version to start growing. You know, if you don't do this, that's when your life stays the same for year after year after year. And you know, this does not only apply to fitness, but like every area of your life as well. To get something that you never had, you have to do something that you never done. You know, I wanted to make a change for the better when it comes to my body, right? So what did I have to do? I had to get my fat ass in the gym, no matter if I wanted it or not. Otherwise, I was gonna stay the same. It was gonna be a struggle, and that was something that I just had to accept, right? It's part of the deal. You know, my brain was so comfortable at this point of doing the same things over and over and over, even though my life was literally terrible. The sad truth is, your brain doesn't give a shit about what's good or bad for you. It only cares about what's making it comfortable. You know, when you do something for a long enough time, whether it's good or it's bad, your brain gets attached to the feelings associated with doing the thing. And you know, that's why it's so hard for you to break out of the bad habits, even though you really want to. All my brain had ever known at this point was just playing video games and getting dopamine from the junk food that I was eating, right? You know, so whenever I had a single thought of working out or taking care of myself, my brain would instantly try to convince me otherwise. Going to the gym? Nah, bro. I'd much rather just stay here and play my video games and, you know, stuff my face with shit food over and over. You know, if you have any thoughts of working out, you can just forget about them completely, because I'm not doing it. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I gave into the thoughts that my brain was telling me, you know. I just kept playing the video games and eating the junk food. But as the weeks passed and I noticed that my life just kept staying the same over and over, and I felt so bad about myself, I had to come to terms with that my brain was actually working against me. You know, I had programmed it to get comfortable with the junk food and video games. So if I wanted to do something else, it was gonna do everything in its power to not work in my favor. You know, time was passing and my life still looked the same. So I had to just accept that I was gonna have to put the work in and, you know, actually fight against my own brain. So one day after high school, I remember, I just signed up for a local gym in my area and just went for it. I didn't care if I was nervous or anxious. My brain was giving me all the reasons, you know, to back out and go back to my old self. But I knew deep down that if I don't do anything about this, I was gonna live like this for the rest of my life. Me taking that first step, you know, to actually start changing my life for the better, that's when my body transformed from looking like this to now looking like this. You know, I just had to throw myself into the deep end instead of watching another YouTube video about it. And that completely changed everything for me. I want you to think about this in your own life. You know, things that you've always wanted to do, but you never took action on them. Things that could literally change your life for the better. You know, things that could potentially help you retire your parents. What's stopping you from at least trying? You know, what's the worst that can happen? Oh, I'm gonna be bad at it and then I'm gonna embarrass myself. Oh no. But what did you expect? You have to be bad at something in order for you to get good. You know, just think about anything that you learned in your life so far. Let's take something as basic as walking. You know, when we're like 3 years old, we just don't randomly learn how to walk right. We learn by standing up and taking a few steps. We fall over and we do it again. We learn to walk by putting in the hours and actually practicing. Walking for you right now is like no problems, right? Because you've done it for years and years and years. So of course you gotten better. Now this also applies to something new in your life. You know, there's no shortcuts around it. You just have to start and learn along the way. And you will get better as long as you keep trying. Your brain has gotten so comfortable with the life that you're living right now. So whenever you think of doing something new, of course it's gonna give you resistance. You know, this is where you have to do it anyway and slowly start to reprogram yourself. Let's take the gym, for example. If you want to start looking better, right, it makes no sense whatsoever to jump into this full workout plan if you never exercised before. You know, you just stepping inside of the gym for once in your life, that is a massive win in itself. Building a strong foundation, that's the most important thing to do, because that's going to give support to everything else. You know, if you have a bad foundation to begin with, then no matter the good stuff that you put above it, it's all just gonna fall. When I first started going to the gym, this was the mistake I did, right? You know, I wanted the fastest results I could possibly get, so I did way too much at the start. What I should have done instead is build a strong foundation, you know, while slowly easing myself into the gym and actually staying consistent. Because what I did, You know, I just did it for a couple of weeks and then I decided to quit. I was in the cycle for months until I realized, you know, I had to take a step back and slowly ease myself into it. If I actually wanted to make a change with my body, I had to start thinking long term. You know, anything worth having doesn't come easy and it takes time. This is the approach that you have to start taking if you want to sacrifice the old version of you. You know, you can't just randomly quit all the bad habits at the same time because it's going to be too much and you're going to relapse. What you have to do instead is to slowly just ease yourself out of them and add new good habits on top of them. You already know that being consistent is what's going to give you the results that you want, right? But if you start rushing the process because you want faster results and you're trying to do all these things at once, it's only going to make you do one single thing, and that is to quit. So what I want you to do is to start taking baby steps. You know, if you want to get in shape and you never worked out before, just showing up at the gym is a massive win for you. And then you can take it further from there, you know, finishing your first workout and so on. As long as you try to do the thing and, you know, push yourself to keep making progress, sooner or later, I promise you, you will realize that there was nothing to be afraid of in the first place. And now you're also reprogramming your brain, you know, to start enjoying the thing that will actually benefit you. I want you to remember that the first step to becoming great is that you start taking action. You know, don't go and watch another YouTube video about it. Go and do the actual thing and take that first step, no matter how big or small it is. Add me on Discord if you want to talk more about this, and I'm happy to give you more advice. I'll put my username on the screen right here, but also in the description. Thanks for watching.